In the heart of Cebu City, where the sun paints the sky gold each morning and jeepneys weave through crowded streets, lived a young girl named Lina Dela Cruz. Her life was a testament to resilience. Her father had passed away when she was 6, and her mother worked long hours in a small eatery to keep a roof over their heads. Their home, built from thin wooden boards, stood on the edge of a crowded street near the riverside, where the air smelled faintly of salt and smoke from cooking fires. Every day after school, Lina would take a small basket filled with colorful handmade bracelets and head toward the bustling market, hoping to sell enough to buy rice for dinner. But there was something special about her routine, something that set her apart from every other child selling trinkets under the hot Philippine sun. Lina sang. Her voice was soft at first, like a whisper carried by the sea breeze that flowed in from the nearby harbor. But as the minutes passed, her tone grew stronger, richer, filled with emotion that came from deep within her heart. She often sang Miley Cyrus songs, songs that spoke of dreams, strength, and rising above pain. Her favorite was The Climb. She had discovered Miley years ago through an old, cracked phone she found in a junk shop, and she would listen to the songs over and over, whispering the lyrics to herself until they became her own story. Each time she sang it, it was as if she was singing about the mountains she had to climb just to survive. Her voice carried across the marketplace, stopping people in their tracks. Some smiled, some cried quietly. Others filmed her with their phones, moved by the raw beauty of a young girl's spirit refusing to give up. On one particularly humid afternoon, Lina stood barefoot beside a fruit stall, the smell of mangoes and roasted corn thick in the air. Her hair was tied back in a messy ponytail, and her worn-out blue dress fluttered in the wind. She closed her eyes and began to sing Wrecking Ball. Her voice rose above the city noise, clear, emotional, powerful. The fruit seller behind her stopped slicing papaya. A young couple paused mid-conversation. Even the busy tricycle drivers slowed down to listen. Her tone was not perfect by technical standards, but there was something so human, so pure in the way she sang that it felt impossible to look away. A tourist, a woman from Canada with a kind smile, stopped and recorded her performance. When Lina finished, the woman handed her 100 pesos and said softly, "You have a gift, sweetheart." Never stop singing. Lina smiled shyly, thanking her in broken English. She didn't think much of it. She had been complimented before by strangers, though none of it ever changed her daily life. That night, she went home, handed her mother the small amount she earned, and helped cook dinner over a tiny charcoal stove. The stars outside their window glimmered like dreams too far to touch. But the next morning, everything changed. When Lina arrived at the market, whispers followed her everywhere. "That's the girl," someone said. "The one from the video." Confused, she asked her friend what they meant. Her friend showed her a phone screen. There she was singing barefoot in Cebu, her voice echoing over millions of views. The caption read, "Miley Cyrus herself would be proud. Filipino girl's voice melts the internet." The comments section was filled with people from all over the world calling her a star, an angel, and a voice of hope. Tears welled in her eyes. She had never even used social media before. She didn't understand how so many people could hear her voice overnight. Within a week, news reporters started visiting her home. They asked about her life, her dreams, and what it felt like to touch hearts across the globe. Lina, still humble and shy, said softly, "I just sing because it makes me happy. I sing because it makes my mama smile." Soon, local TV stations in the Philippines began airing her story. The video reached the United States, where producers of America's Got Talent came across it and were blown away by her emotional delivery. They contacted her through a local journalist, offering her a chance to audition. Her mother could hardly believe it. "Lina, Anik," she said, tears in her eyes. "This is your chance. This is your climb." Lina hugged her tightly, whispering, "I'll make you proud, Mama. I'll make the world hear our story." The day she received her visa and flight ticket was the first time she had ever left Cebu. As she stood on the balcony of their small home that night, looking out over the city lights, she could feel her heart racing. The city that had once been her small world now seemed to fade beneath her dreams. The same streets where she used to sing for coins had given her wings to fly. Her mother stayed up all night, sewing a simple white dress for her, the same one she would later wear on the world's biggest stage. The grand stage of America's Got Talent shimmered beneath blinding lights, the kind Lina had only seen on TV screens in her small home in Cebu. As she stood backstage, holding a microphone, her heart pounded like a drum inside her chest. The sound of the audience beyond the curtain felt like the roaring ocean back home, overwhelming, vast, and alive. She glanced down at her mother, sitting among the crowd, eyes full of tears and pride, and whispered a silent prayer. "Lord, let them hear me the way my mama does." When the host announced her name, the audience cheered politely, curious about the shy Filipino girl who had flown halfway across the world after her street performance went viral. She stepped into the spotlight wearing the simple white dress her mother had sewn by hand. It wasn't glittering or glamorous, but it carried something more precious: love and hope stitched into every thread. The judges looked on with interest. Simon Cowell adjusted his microphone, his sharp gaze meeting hers. "What's your name, darling?" he asked. "My name is Lina Dela Cruz," she said softly, her accent noticeable, but her voice steady. "Where are you from?" Simon continued. "I'm from Cebu City, Philippines," she answered, her lips trembling slightly. "I used to sing on the street to help my mom, but today I want to sing for the world." The audience broke into applause, and Simon gave a small nod, his expression softening. "All right, Lina, the stage is yours." As the music began, the opening chords of Wrecking Ball, a hush fell over the crowd. Lina closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Her first note was soft, trembling with emotion. But as she continued, her voice grew stronger, filling the entire theater. She wasn't just performing. She was living the song. Every lyric carried the weight of her journey, the struggle, the pain, and the faith that kept her singing through it all. Her tone was pure, her control astonishing for someone so young. And when she reached the chorus, it was as if her soul broke free, soaring with the melody. By the time she finished, the room was silent. Then, slowly, people began to rise from their seats. The applause thundered through the air, louder than anything she'd ever heard. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she looked toward the judges. Heidi Klum was wiping her eyes. Howie Mandel had his hand over his heart. And Simon, usually stern and unshaken, stood up, clapping slowly before speaking. "Lina," he said, his voice steady but full of emotion. "That wasn't just singing. That was storytelling. That was raw and real. You didn't come here to perform. You came here to remind us what music is supposed to do, to move people." The audience cheered louder as he added, "Miley Cyrus herself would be proud of you." The camera zoomed in on Lina's face as she covered her mouth in disbelief. She had dreamed of hearing those words since she was a little girl singing barefoot in Cebu. In that moment, she wasn't just Lina, the street singer. She was Lina, the girl who made the world stop and listen. The following morning, clips of her performance flooded social media. The hashtag Lina Dela Cruz trended globally. Fans from around the world wrote messages of love and admiration. And in a twist of fate that felt almost unreal, Miley Cyrus herself reposted the video with the caption, "This girl has my heart. Keep climbing, Lina." Back home, her neighbors in Cebu gathered around small TVs and phones, cheering as her name flashed across screens. Her mother watched silently, tears flowing freely. Lina's story was no longer just her own. It was a story of every child who dared to dream despite hardship. Simon Cowell later explained in an interview, "There's something different about her. It's not just the voice, it's the heart behind it." She reminded the world that talent doesn't come from fame or money. It comes from the soul. From a small corner of the Philippines to the biggest stage on earth, Lina's journey became a symbol of hope. Her song traveled far beyond the lights of the AGT stage, echoing through millions of hearts across the world. Proof that even from the humblest beginnings, a voice filled with truth and passion can move the entire world.